Hey you guys, welcome back to Angel Angela, and on this topic I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys basically about how the narcissist will stop at no cost so that they won't be alone. The narcissist will stop at no cost so that they won't be alone. The narcissist, you guys, is someone who is dead. The person you're seeing in the physical form, I don't care if it's your mother, daughter, grandfather, whoever, that's not who they are. That spirit that's in them, it needs to stay alive, and it needs to stay alive through feeding through people. And this is why that spirit cannot be alone, because if that spirit is alone, that spirit is not going to exist. So this is why they spiritually try to kill you, so that you technically don't exist anymore. You don't exist to the people in your old life, and those people view you as something that you're not. What's dangerous about narcissists not wanting to be alone and them stopping at no cost so that they won't be alone is that they do not care about you. They don't care about you as a person. They don't care about you as a human being. And I remember telling this person this just to get hoovered back. And because I wouldn't allow them to hoover me back in, they would start to talk exactly like me. They would say things like, why can't you be a decent human being? And just those words would make me react to them and tell them, hey, that's what I told you and you left me and didn't care. Right? So the narcissist won't stop at any cost. They know what they did. They know what they said. They know that they're repeating what you said, and it's triggering you to the point where you're responding to them. And that's all they really want is a response. They're basically like, hey, it's me. You know it's me. They're like trying to force you to open the door, your spiritual doors. They're like, hey, it's me. I'm back. Hey, I'm running away from someone. Open the door. They stop at no cost just to get back in with you. The narcissist, from the start, they don't see any value in you. They don't see you as a person. They don't see anything about your life being real. They don't care what diplomas, what certification you have, how much money you have. It's like a fantasy world to them, and they just get to take whatever they want. And in order for them not to be alone, they know that they have to get the perfect supply. The perfect supply is usually either someone who has went through too much trauma or someone who hasn't went through enough. Someone who doesn't have direction is what they're looking for. So it doesn't matter whether you've went through certain traumas. What you will notice is that they'll pick at you because of your traumas, which they don't feel like whatever you told them is a big deal. But they will tell you, I know people who have been through worse situations than you, or they'll tell you, you should appreciate your life. You should appreciate certain things. So they come off like your best friend. They want you to look up to them. If you don't have certain people in your life, they want you to view them as that person. They want you to view them as your safe place. They want you to view them as someone who's not perfect, who makes mistakes like everyone else, but who's out here trying just like you. Right? They want to seem relatable to you. The only difference is that you're not willing to exploit someone just so that you don't have to be alone. And a lot of times, you know what it's like being alone. You know what it's like being alone, but you don't feel lonely because you have maybe certain people in your life. But what the narcissist comes to do is that they come to take away any relationships that you have with people. And they're like, I'm going to show you what being alone really is about. So the narcissist won't stop at any cost to destroy you because they're in a competition with you. So the narcissist can do all type of things to you, in my experience. I've already shared many things with you guys. I've been through miscarriages, I've been through, the narcissist texting me pictures of the new supply naked, wearing a thong. I've been through me and the narcissist fighting in a cabin, and me leaving him in a cabin in the middle of nowhere, and him inviting the new supply to come spend the weekend with him. So I've been through many situations with these type of people, and what I realize about every single one of them is that they cannot be alone, and you'll tell them, hey, I don't want to be abused anymore. I'd rather be alone. I'd rather be alone than being abused. But the narcissist won't stop at any cost so that they won't be alone. It's not about you. You can tell them, hey, please don't hurt me. I just went through a miscarriage. I just went through this. They don't care. That's what makes them a narcissist, is that they do not care. They're only thinking about themselves. So to them, it's like, I'll come and make you feel like I'm here for you, but I already know I'm going to hurt you again. So I might as well look for a new supply, because I don't want to be alone, because I know after this experience, you're not going to want to stick around, and I'm not willing to give too much energy to you, because I'm trying to build myself. Narcissists literally won't stop at any cost so that they won't be alone. They'll have friends around that they're not really friends with. They'll, talk to family that they don't like. They'll pretend with people so that they won't be alone. They'll make sure that you view people a certain way, and you start eliminating people out of your circle. But the whole time you're dealing with the actual snake, and that's why they're able to discern certain people for who they are. It's because that's who they are. They're able to study other people, other narcissists, because that's who they are, and they've studied the empath to a T. In my experience, I basically was pimped by my own grandmother, and what the narcissist helped me see was that I was someone that she used to get attention, admiration from people, and when I really needed her, she wasn't there. And in that moment, the narcissist said to me, I'm exactly like her. At that moment, I didn't know she was a narcissist. I didn't know he was a narcissist. But he said, I'm exactly like her. She's someone that cannot be alone. She will, literally tell you that you don't need anyone but God. But then she's behaving in a way where I'm like, God wouldn't act like this. Jesus, that you love so much, wouldn't act like this. I'm literally, crying out to this person at that time, and you're thinking, hey, you don't remember me being a little kid? Hey, you don't remember doing this? You don't remember me following you everywhere? You don't remember all the people that I basically brought to your house to worship you? You don't remember none of that stuff? I helped build what you have because you used me as a kid. So the moment that you tell these people and you bring up your awareness to them, because now you're starting to see that everything was always transactional. They might have always been getting a check for you and they never even told you about it. You start to see that everything was a facade. They already knew you were going to spend time alone. They already knew they were going to reject you. They already knew all these things. They already knew they didn't respect you. They already knew that if you weren't under their control, you were no use for them. They already knew that one day you were going to have your own options, your own mind, and they're like, hey, let's see. The narcissist always wants to test other people out if they can do things on their own, but the narcissist has never done anything on their own. These are people that will even tell you that they didn't have anything, they came from nothing, but yet they had people around them in a way that you don't have, and they'll sit there and try to literally break you, but yet if their birthday comes up and no one remembers, they're crying. The narcissist, they watched me get sick. They watched me get sick. They watched me go to the hospital. They watched my health deteriorate at such a young age. I'm like young, going through things in my body that I shouldn't be going through, right? Didn't know it was coming from them. Didn't know it was coming from them, but they knew that. And they had this look on their face. Every time I think about it, they had this look on their face every time something was happening. But they just didn't want to be alone. But they were planning their exit strategy. The narcissist will make up excuses. This person is older than you. They're making excuses to why they're treating you and making you sick. And they feel like it's okay just because you're younger than them. And here they are. Their hair is growing. Their face is looking flawless. And here you are alone, killing yourself from the inside out. If you're dealing with family, these people will attack you, and they're not thinking of the fact that their lies are growing. They're not thinking of the fact that you didn't really do anything. You just caught them in a lie, and they're willing to sacrifice you instead of being truthful about the lies that they've made up about you or others. They'd rather sacrifice you so that they won't have to be alone. Instead of them saying, yeah, I made these things up. I created this whole scenario. I've been puppeting everyone. They'll look people in the eyes and lie to them and make it seem like you're crazy, just so that they won't be alone, just so that their reputation is not distorted. Yet your reputation will be distorted because their whole thing is that they knew eventually everything was coming to light, or everything would come to light. So they built themselves up so that they won't have to be alone. A lot of times, narcissists and families, they are not thinking of what's going to happen to you. These people could be older than you. They're not thinking about what's going to happen if you're out in this world on your own, or they don't care if you don't have any parents and the only person you're holding on to is your grandparent, and now they're taking that away from you too. This is the biggest lie that narcissists try to make you believe. Because of their own arrogance, because of the things that they say to you, because they tell you that other people don't view them the way you view them, because they tell you that other people respect them maybe the way that you don't respect them. They've already tested you out. They've already jabbed at you several times. They've already discarded you several times, and they already have processed how they're going to remake their entrance over again, how they're going to come back, how they're going to speak to you, how are they going to blame you. See, instead of giving you validation, they will blame you. You made me do this. You made me act like this. If you just act cool, I wouldn't behave the way I behave. A lot of times they'll tell you that you embarrass them in public, and this is why, they degrade you in public, or they degrade you in front of people because you did something. It's always you did something. Sometimes, because you receive so much abuse from these people, what will happen is that you will start to take on their characteristics. So you'll put yourself in situations where you might behave the way they're behaving. So you might end up embarrassing them in public. You might say the wrong thing, or you might talk too much, right? And this is all coming from the narcissist making you feel like you don't have a voice. So a lot of times when you're behind closed doors, this person is so abusive to the point where now when you're around friends or family, it might seem like you're the dominating one because they're sitting back, relaxing. They know you're going to fall under their trap, and you're going to try to dominate the situation because they're actually hoping for that. The narcissist, what you guys need to understand is they already know what you're thinking. They already know that certain things are going to trigger you. They already know that they're playing with your emotions. They already know what you're thinking. They already know the pain that you're feeling. They already know what's going to result based off of them putting their guard down so that it can seem like you're speaking up for yourself for once, right? So you'll say something. There'll be times where you'll say something, and later on you'll find yourself apologizing to the narcissist. You're like, I don't even know why I'm acting like this. I don't even know why I'm doing this. So you're going to find yourself in situations where you're doing things that you've never done before. You're reacting out of anger. You lose control over your emotions. You get to a point where the narcissist plays with your mind so much that you're basically like, you know what? I'm letting go of my emotions. I'm going to let my emotions run wild. So if I'm angry, I'm real angry. If I'm sad, I'm real sad. And a lot of times you're reacting like that because while you're with the narcissist, you're telling yourself, if I love someone and I just keep loving, maybe I'll change their mind because I'm going to let go of my feelings, my emotions. I'm just going to put everything on the table and I'm going to let myself go. When the narcissist, discards me and they come back and they're knocking at my window, knocking at my door, calling me, I'm going to act upset. But because I know I love this person so much, I don't even want to talk about the argument. I know they don't want to talk about it. I know they don't want to validate me. I know they don't want to make me feel comfortable. I know they just want to come back and they want to make up. They want to go straight to kissing and hugging. And I'm just going to let go because I don't know if I'll ever love like this again. While you're in the relationship, you're literally in love with someone, and at the same time, they're playing you and you're letting your emotions go and you're thinking to yourself, how big can the damage be if I'm the one choosing to let go, to freeing myself of the love that I have and really being tormented because I know it's not going to last forever, but I want it to last as long as I can. I want this feeling. I want these butterflies. I want to feel this in love till the very end, till I can't love anymore. You're telling yourself, till I can't love anymore. You're not realizing how you're going to feel once that person is gone. You're not really thinking of what's going to happen after, because to you it's like, if you leave, my life is over. If you leave, my life doesn't matter anymore. And when you're letting yourself go in this way, it's very sick and twisted because the narcissist already knows that. They know that. It was times where I would cry and the narcissist would just like wipe my tears and like start rubbing my back and caressing my face or touching my head, touching my hair. And it was like they knew, right? And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know. They know how much you care about them. They know you're in pain. They know all these things, and they're just looking at you blankly, with a blank stare, like it's a sad case, but it just they're looking at you like, at least, I'm here with you now. I'm preparing you. One day I'm not going to be here. One day I'm not going to be around. And if you choose to hurt yourself because I'm not going to be around forever, nothing lasts forever. You know that. And if you're willing to destroy yourself, while I'm destroying you, then that's just what's going to happen because I can't be alone. But all these emotions that you're showing me, I love it. I love the admiration, but can we go back to doing what I want to do? If I want to go out, let's just go out. I know you're crying right now. I know you're in despair, but it's all about me. It's all about how I feel. It's about my new supply. Trust me, I don't want to be here either. In a second, I'm going to get rid of everyone, including you. Because I'm done playing these games. I'm done listening to your problems. I'm done watching you cry. I don't even know why you're crying. Everyone in your life is fake. And you should be thankful to me. Because if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't know that these people don't care about you. Plus, they never really liked me like that. So screw them. I can't get anything out of them. So why do I care? You know, I can't get anything out of your family. What you have to offer, I mean, it's cool, but I'm not willing to help you. You know, I'm looking for something better than that. I'm looking for a better deal. You know, I know I know that you're going to blame me because I took up all your time. I know you're going to blame me because, I pushed you away from your friends and your family, but it's not fair to me to be alone. I know how to be alone, but I don't want to be alone. That's the difference between you and I. You don't know how to be alone. You haven't really found out what it feels like to be alone in this world. I already found out what it feels like. And, I already died and came back and I made a choice. I'm not going to be alone, and I don't care if I have to destroy you along the way. But I'm not willing to be alone. So I'm willing to make up lies about you. I'm willing to triangulate you with other people. I'm willing to send people your way. I'm willing to even tell my friends to try to get with you behind my back. I'm willing to tell you during arguments, yeah, I am cheating on you. Go look for someone else. You better hurry up before I move on. They'll tell you the truth. They'll tell you, they'll set up scenarios where they know how you're going to react, and they'll give you the bad end of the stick to justify their actions. If you tell a narcissist something they don't like, they go out their way to hurt you, and then they want you to find the clues that they've been hurting you, and they're kind of like, by the time I destroy you, you can only blame yourself because I'm not going to feel bad because it's not like I used you. You fell into my traps. So these people set up traps to justify their actions. This is why anytime you're asking yourself, why is this person treating me like this? This is not normal. Why don't they just leave me alone? They don't leave you alone because they don't want to be alone. They're hanging on to you till they feel like they found the next best thing. So they'll latch on to you. They'll try to destroy you. They'll set up scenarios that you're traps so that you can fall into them, so they can tell themselves, you know what, so-and-so, they're not that perfect. They don't really love me the way they say they do because I caught them in lies, or I caught them doing this, or I did this. But it's scenarios that they set up for you. They'll treat you bad. They'll push you to someone else. They'll leave you for months. And the moment that, they come back, they know that you were talking to someone or you went on a date with someone, and they're like, if you take me back, I'm going to get you back for moving on behind my back. And that's going to justify why I'm coming back in your life. Meanwhile, you're thinking your relationship is getting back to a better place, and this person's coming back just to con you and basically tell you deserve that they deserve better, that things didn't work out for them. But, that doesn't mean that it won't work out next time. So they want you to believe that they're not willing to do, to work on themselves because they don't have a problem, and there's no point on them being alone because they're the life of the party. They're the ones, they're the chosen ones. That's really how they feel. They feel like they're the chosen ones. But if you were a chosen one, you wouldn't feel like you had to abuse someone. It's not like you're just getting over on someone. You're constantly it's abuse when you're doing it for so long, right? But these people, the way they think is very, very sinister, because to them it's like, you love me. I know I'm destroying your relationships with people. I know I'm getting you all effed up in your mind. And eventually they know you're going to basically go crazy. You're going to go circles around what the situation, and you're going to destroy themselves. You're going to destroy yourself. But by then they feel like, I've already groomed my new supply. And then you're going to learn about me and how I groom the next source of supply. So they actually want you to learn their routine, how they do things, how they move from person to person. They want you to know that. They want you to be prepared when they come back around. They're basically like, hey, this relationship I'm in, this is where I'm at. I'm ready to go. It might not last long. And, you should know I'm going to be back. You should know I would never leave you. So when it doesn't go as planned, even though they were acting very arrogant, their whole thing is not being alone at all costs. So the moment that things go wrong, because they usually go wrong, they don't want you to believe that they will lie to you, that they've been depressed. They'll make up stories. They'll use incidents of others to convince you to let them back in. And they'll tell you, I was alone this whole time. And they say it to the point where they believe their own lies. And this is what makes narcissists so dangerous, is that they believe their own lies. They know what they did. They know they didn't give you closure. They said some nasty things to you. They don't care about the nasty things that they said. Words don't mean anything to the narcissist. To them, it was just, I need to get you away from me because I have someone else in store. And a lot of times their imagination actually runs wild. And it not just in relationships, but even in friendships, because you'll see their demeanor when it comes to certain people, how they're giving these people their full attention, and you're like, why are they being so nice? Why are they going, oh, they're offering this person help. This person has a flat tire. But when I went through the same incident, the narcissist caught an Uber and disappeared and made me handle my situation on my own. They didn't care about me being alone, because they knew by leaving me in a distressed situation without any help of the people closest to me, my only instinct is to go to what I know. So the narcissist wants to become all you ever know, to the point where your memories and things that once mattered to you, the way you used to view people, your connections with others, it's almost like the lifeline, the energy you had with other people just becomes broken. And then it's like you can't go back, and they know that. So they're doing all these things to you. They've done this to other people, and that's what's hard to, it's so hard to believe. It's like, why would you do that to someone, right? But they've done this. It's a repeated behavior that they've done many times. So they already know what you're thinking, how you feel, but their whole purpose is, I don't want to be alone. So what happens is that once they take you away from your comfort zone, now it's like you need to be invested into their life. You need to be invested into their finances, into their dreams, into their ambitions. And you don't really have a problem with that, right? Because the narcissist is telling you that they would do the same for you. So what happens is that once they corner you in, you're looking like an orphan who's just happy to have a family. Right? You're looking at the narcissist like, this is your family, this is your home. And the only thing they're thinking about is replacing you. And once when you're in it, it doesn't seem that way. And even when you do have your intuition or you have dreams of what they're doing, and it's like your spirit's trying to shake you up, it's like you can't wake up because it feels too good, and your emotions are so in a state of imbalance where you're just like, I wouldn't even know how to be normal again. I wouldn't even know how to be calm again. I wouldn't even know how not to be so anxious, so triggered, So the narcissist's own fears of being alone will be shown to you, because when they're hoovering you, they're acting desperate. When they're trying to get in contact with you, they're calling, they're driving by, they're blowing the horn. They're leaving notes everywhere. They're sending you things. They're offering you money like you're an object, like you're somebody off the street, and it gets really, really sinister to the point where now they're treating you like an object, like you're just a meat suit, and it gets to the point where, in my situation, it was like on my days off, if he had to work, it would get to the point where we were together all the time. He wanted to be around me all the time. He needed to be around me, to the point where it's like, you're not working, I'm going to work, you need to come with me to my job. And it's like they wanted to make sure that when they were working and I wasn't working, they knew what I was doing, right? So the narcissist gets to the point where they don't want to be alone, to the point where they're taking you to work with them. They're making, what you will find out about a lot of narcissists is that when they go to work, they have supply at work, right? A lot of times they're trying to get that secondary supply through a job. Some narcissists can't keep a job, but they'll go into a job just to get supply, So when a narcissist goes to work, they're not going to work just to work, unless you're dealing with a higher grade narcissist, right? But when you're dealing with a lower grade narcissist, they're just basically going to work to find a better supply. And when they can't do that, then they're trying to get you to go to their job. So you'll find narcissists who do like security work or have jobs where you kind of, truck drivers, jobs where you kind of can have people around. They'll have you be with them at all times because they cannot be alone. That's how serious it is. They cannot be alone. They have to be under you at all times. They have to know what you're doing at all times, because they need to become your everything. They need to imprint you to the point where you can't do anything. You can't make choices without them. You're telling them everything about your day. They start to study you in a way where they know you better than you know yourself. So when it comes to a narcissist not being able to be alone, they take over your life, take over everything that you stand for. They study everything about you. They run off with your information. They run off with your knowledge. All those words of all those nights you comforted them, doesn't mean anything. It's like you're not even a real person. You don't exist. Because prior to you coming into the narcissist's life, something was going on with them. There was something going on in their life. Like in my case, the narcissist didn't have a car. If I can talk to the younger me, I would say to myself, be careful. This person's older than you. They should have a car. They should have their life together. They're way, you can go over there, your friends and their friends, you guys can have a good time, but this person has no substance. They have no backbone. You have more than them, and you're young, right? That's what I would tell my younger self. But when you're living in the moment, you're just wanting to have fun with people, and the narcissist has a very childlike personality, and you'll start to think they're just like you, they're around your age, or they think like you, or they're someone who's there to teach you, right? And then next thing you know, they're treating you like you're the adult and you're the kid. You're still a kid, and they're the ones who are an adult. Now they're telling you that people think you're the older one. They'll start putting things in your head, implanting things in your head. And here you are helping them, taking them to work, building them up because they're playing like a victim. They're telling you that someone destroyed them. So you're there like, I'm not messed up. A ride to work doesn't mean anything to me, but it means everything to the narcissist in that moment. They'll tell you, I don't need your ride. I can catch the bus. I can catch the train. And they can tell you these things. I can Uber to work. But it's going to waste time, it's going to waste money, and the narcissist does not have, especially lower grade narcissists, they don't have the dedication and the strive to do those things on a consistency is not there. They're not consistent people. So what you do is you motivate them and you bring consistency to their life, because now you've became almost like a coach to them in their world. And, they'll save their money, buy a car, and then that's when they show you who they really are. And then they think that because they have a car, it's going to attract supply. Then they're trying to attract supply with the vehicle, and it doesn't work out as planned because the supply they're trying to attract needs something from them. They need energy. They need supply. They need, they still need to pay for things. They need to come out the pocket. And this is where the narcissist will keep you around, even though they've discarded you. But then they'll come back because they feel like, I have to spend money on this new supply. I still need you around, but only if you'll do stuff for me. Only if you're not doing anything for me, this is not a real relationship. So they'll make you feel like you still have to keep giving out, and it's all because they don't want to be alone, because they know what it's like to be alone, because they got their karma before and ended up alone. And when they became alone, people laughed at them. And they're like, I'll never let these people get the satisfaction of laughing at me again. I don't care who I use. And it's not until the narcissist leaves you in that same situation and you're trying to crawl out will you realize what they did to you. And, it's nothing to you'll understand their motives, but you'll think to yourself, even in this situation that I'm going through, I don't even have it in me to bring someone down like that for so long. So they'll put someone else who's going to be like a decoy to play the new supply. And the person that's the decoy is going to be someone that's a lot like you. And then this is why a lot of times people are like, oh, the new supply, kind of looks like me, or they are crazy. They will go and get someone else that looks like you, resembles you, something about them, their empathy, something reminds them of you while they're with a Jezebel. So what they're doing is that they're triangulating you with the new supply, which they're planning on using too. So this is why they'll be very arrogant, like, hey, I this is where they get very disrespectful, because it's not just you, it's not just the new supply, but it's a Jezebel spirit behind that as well. So they're basically showing you that they're willing to disrespect you for this empath, and the empath sometimes seems like the narcissist because they're taking up the narcissist side. The narcissist might even be truthful to them, or this person might be a coworker, a friend, someone who they've been talking to about you. And now that person is behaving like a narcissist, but they're just keeping that person around to trigger you because they know that that person is going to get their karma for even talking to you or disrespecting you the way they did. They feel like, oh, I know you're mad about this new supply, but they're going to get it worse than you for being dumb, because they don't even know that I'm only using them as a decoy for the person I'm really hiding. The person that probably even broke the narcissist's heart at one point. And that's what you don't know. So most people who are narcissists cannot be alone. They feel like someone has hurt them, someone has used them, and they have to compensate how they feel by destroying others the same way they feel like someone destroyed them, only that a lot of times the people they target end up in worse situations than even the narcissist even experienced. So this narcissist, guys, cannot be alone. They use a decoy, they use you, but it's really the Jezebel spirit that keeps triggering them, because the Jezebel spirit is here 1 minute and then she's gone. And then they have to seek out that same spirit again in order to feel alive again, But when they're down, they're praying to the heavens, they're praying to God for an empath. And when the empath comes, they don't appreciate the empath. They feel like, yeah, I know I prayed for a long time because I didn't want to be alone. And I know God sent you in some way, somehow, but I don't care. Someone did certain things to me, and who cares if I do it to you? I never got closure. Why should I give it to you? This is someone that can't be alone, that gets off on hurting others. And it's not necessarily that they get off on just hurting others, right? It's not just the fact that they get off on that, because to be honest with you, a lot of the times when these people are hurting you, when they're saying things to you, when they're hitting you, pushing you, that doesn't really mean anything to them. It's just because you see them angry and you're terrorized by them. They're not really angry. They're putting on a scene. And once you start looking at these people in the eyes and you're like, I'm not playing with you, like, you're lying, you're full of it, they'll blink, look away, look right back at you, and turn into a full-blown monster, because they know that you're looking for them to look away. And you'll see that their eyes will kind of shift where they want to look away, but they're trying so hard to look you in the eyes because they know that they have just been exposed. They know that So this is where they become, it's like a thief getting caught. The thief, instead of, you're like, why can't you just, get what you came for and leave? Now that I caught you, you're shooting at me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they're doing when they get caught. They're basically shooting at you because they're like, I'm trying to survive at the end of the day. And if you want to hate me for surviving, that's on you. So you'll find yourself being apologetic to them, like, oh, I'm sorry. I forgive you because I know you have to survive. And it's okay. I know you tried to kill me, but, I just want you to survive. I just want you to be happy, So God sees that. God remembers what the narcissist said. God remembers the times where the narcissist was down and they lied to God. God seen that they gave the narcissist a chance because they genuinely really wanted to change. God sees that, and then God starts blessing them. And just as they bless them, they're blessing them so that they can bless the people that they've actually hurt. So this is why certain people do bogus things, but then they compensate because, they'll tell you the truth. They'll ask for forgiveness and they'll always be there. Some certain people will do things to you and, You might never trust them again, but they actually fight for you to trust them again. Certain people go back to the past and they reevaluate certain relationships, and it doesn't take them years to do so. The narcissist will only do it because they're tormented and they can't get out of it, right? So we all have to live with our mistakes. But the biggest mistake, what I want you guys to get out of this video, because, you might feel like, well, I'm alone and they're not alone. The truth of the matter is that you have to be alone. You have to be alone to go over that nightmare that you were in. A lot of times you can't remember your nightmares, right? You're just glad it's over. But you have to go over that nightmare so that you can actually live your dream. The narcissist, you already know you're ahead of them, because as much as they tried to bring you down, you saw things in different perspectives that they didn't care about. The things that you cared about, they didn't care about. You were trying to tell them, show them certain things. They didn't care. They didn't care at all. They thought they knew more. They thought their life matters. Your life doesn't matter, right? So what happens is that while you're going through your healing, you're downloading everything. You're downloading the evil, the evils of this world. You're downloading all the demonic things that you couldn't put the pieces together to, and you're already ahead of them because you have balance. The narcissist has no balance. They portray like they have balance. They will talk about chakras. They'll sit here and talk about spiritual stuff. They'll sit here and play tarot cards with you. They'll sit here and talk about the universe. They'll put videos right in front of you so you can hear these things. And the thing is, they're trying to play you, but you can't play God. You cannot play the universe. So guess what? You were meant to listen to the things that they put on for you because you actually were gaining information. The narcissist only gains information to use it on people, to deceive people, to hit you up with the top of the morning grand rising, right? So, what is so important about this video is that even though the narcissist's their biggest thing is not to be alone, is that they usually end up alone, or they end up with someone who ends up controlling them. A lot of times while you're with the narcissist and they're looking for better supply, or they get better supply, at least in your eyes, right? You're thinking that. What happens is that the narcissist will say, oh, that's why my new supply is a doctor. That's why my new supply is a nurse. That's why my new supply is a lawyer, So the narcissist will start to brag about what the type of supply they were able to get. And they're telling you, if I get the kind of supply or the kind of money that I want, I don't care whose ass I gotta kiss. That's what the narcissist is telling you. I don't care. I'll behave. I won't cheat no more. What's the point on cheating? I got everything I want. But the reality is that when they start to grow jealous and start to realize that they're being controlled, now they're putting out videos. They're telling you, I'm a narcissist. I can't take it. I need healing. I need the empaths to heal me. I need them to verify everything I know I did to them to gain clarity about my own actions. Because right now, I'm going through the same thing. They end up becoming controlled by this person. And what the narcissist feels like they could give up that control, because to them, it's like, I wasn't trying to be controlling. I just wanted what I wanted because I didn't want to be alone. And I was willing to tell you whatever I had to tell you to hurt you, to keep you down and keep myself up. I was surviving. I was, above waters while I was drowning you. That, the control means nothing to me, So when we talk about control and all these things and not feeling anything, these are things that people talk about so that you kind of could get the bigger picture. But in the narcissist world, the things that you're looking at, they're not looking at it from an emotional standpoint. So it's like, yeah, you can say that about me. You can say I'm controlling. You could say these things. It doesn't mean anything to them. That's just so you can identify it. While they're living their life, they're not thinking of this terminology. You're the one bringing it. They already know. You're just bringing up these things to their awareness, and these are things that they already knew because every empath that they've been with have told them the same thing. So what happens is that the narcissist becomes someone who gets controlled by the Jezebel spirit. They get controlled. And what happens is that they told themselves going in while discarding you that they were okay with bowing down, living a normal life, being happy, whatever they think is normal, because all these things they've gathered it from you and other people what normal is. So they're like, okay, I'm going to do it. But while they're in it, they start lying, they start cheating, they're doing all these things behind this person's back. But when they're in front of that person, they're treating that person good to deceive them. They're doing all the things that they didn't do with you, they're doing it with them. But behind their back, they need to get some type of control and validation. So they seek you, they seek past supplies, they seek, whores and people out on the street. They'll seek anyone. But they'll treat that person that they're with because they're controlling them very well. And that person even allows them to look like they have control. That person will give them their debit card and say, hey, act like you're paying dinner around my friends. So that person is also using them. And that's why the narcissist feels like, okay, I'll be loyal to you to a certain extent because you're using me and I'm using you. I'm making you look good, even though I'm not really doing anything. But since you're using me to pay for this meal, even though I didn't really pay for it, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to exploit the situation. If things don't go, the narcissist, I'm going to exploit the situation. And the moment they try to exploit that situation, that person shuts it down. Now guess what? We're not going to nice restaurants like the way we were doing because all you had to do was pay, and now you're being arrogant. Now you're acting like my money is your money. You're starting to act out. You're starting to act out now. It's time for you to sit down again. So now that person is doing that to them and the narcissist is upset. They're angry. They're like, that person, they bring me down and then they go back up on their pedestal. I hate them. And this is why now they'll come back to their exes, to other people, but they're always like, I still have that person there. I just have to do whatever they tell me to do. And that's hard. I'd rather tell them, look at all these supplies I got. Look at all these supplies I got. Why should I bow down? I'm doing good without you. I can still go to nice restaurants. Everything they're posting is to let those people know that have rejected them that they're doing fine without them. So the moment they work themselves back up to that supply again, once that person forgives them and lets them back in, that's what they've been waiting on the whole time. This is why they're tossing and turning. This is why they're not happy with you. Now they go back. That person already knows the 411. They know everything. They know the narcissist has to bow down to them. They know the narcissist game. They're like, you're not running that game on me. You already know what it is when you're here. So again, they're like, oh yeah, I know what it's like to be not to be without you. I have to go 50-50 with people. I don't like that. I even told my ex, I have people that paid for everything, right? They go back to being controlled. And eventually, the person that they're being controlled by, even if the narcissist is on their best behavior and they're not cheating, now guess what the narcissist does this time? This is what the narcissist does the next time. They start getting jealous. They're like, oh, you're getting awards. You're making more money. Oh, when are you going to have bad luck? Every time that person's having bad luck, the narcissist is actually happy. And that person actually knows the narcissist is happy and they're pretending to have empathy for them. That person already knows they're pretending. But that person knows that their karma isn't They're going to bounce back out of that situation. They're like, the narcissist, haha, I'm going to bounce back. And when I bounce back, I'm going to study you. And I know you're going to feel like, oh, you bounced back, but you're still going to pretend like, see, I told you everything was going to work itself out. That person already knows that. Just like the narcissist already knows what the empath is thinking, that person already knows what the narcissist is thinking. The same way. They know what the narcissist feels. And they're like, oh, this person, now they're jealous of me. They're jealous of me. They're always around me. They don't give me no space. They're always breathing down my neck. They always want me to invest in their dreams when they know I need to focus on something. This is too much. You don't even have to do much and you're doing too much, narcissist. Then the narcissist starts spreading lies and rumors through other people because they can't help themselves. And it gets back to that person. Or someone says something and that person's like, oh, that's why the narcissist lied. They start to see that the narcissist starts lying about little things that they shouldn't even have lied about. That person's like, oh, yeah, they were just over here yesterday. What are you doing over here in this old neighborhood? And why was your ex over here? So that Jezebel spirit, who they're with, who's controlling them, because in the narcissist's eyes, she's Jezebel. In the narcissist's eyes. So now that person's like, oh, this person's always jealous of me. And now it's starting to manifest to the point where I'm having too much bad luck. And that person's support system and friends and people closest to them that are helping them thrive are telling them, you have to get rid of that person. They're jealous of you. You could do better. You need someone taking care of you. And they crush the narcissist. They step on them. They chew them up and they spit them out. And guess where they're at? Back where they started. Back at home. Back eating ramen noodles. Back starving. Back with nothing to drink. Back with running out of toilet paper. Back to no car. Back to car problems. Back to their old jobs that they've worked at as a security guard or whatever the hell they're doing, back to that. And back to proving everyone that they feel wanted to see them fail. The people they laughed at and stuff, all those people have became haters. Oh, these are my haters. Everyone hated on me. But they played everyone. They laughed at them going up there with the Jezebel spirit. And now they're mad all over again. Now they're looking back at everyone. They're making their rounds. And everyone is happy and healed and moved on. And they're embarrassed. They don't want to go back to the past to say, hey, I'm back. Can you pick me up from the bus stop? They don't want that. Next time you see them, they don't even look like the same person. They look drained. They look just like you were looking, just like you were looking frail and looking like you needed to eat. Now they're looking like they haven't ate a meal in a while. And you made it out on your own. You didn't have to use people, and the people that came across you, you gave back to them, and God just kept blessing you. And things might not be perfect, but you're not where the narcissist left you. And it's going to take the narcissist a very long time to get to just basic stability. Because they're living their karma through their pity party alone. And everything that they were running away from, they didn't want to be alone so bad that they were destroying people. They didn't think about how you were feeling, what you were going through, what you were losing. They didn't care. They only cared about themselves. And they'll sit there and they know that everything they're going through is because of what they did. And now they're running across people and they're like, guess who I ran across? Yeah, but we don't have a problem. That person didn't even say anything to me. We just looked at each other and basically were like, we're cool, and just walked off. The narcissist can say and do and not give you closure, but at the end of the day, they have to go back to the past and they'll never get to the future. And that's how you know that they're spending their time having bad karma alone, because even if they're with someone else, they're going to feel alone, because at the end of the day, they have all this built up karma. They don't want to look at the things that they did. They don't want to accept the things that they did. They don't want to go back to the past. They're fighting it so bad. They're like, you'll never hear from me. Once I leave, right? They have to go back to the past. That's how you know someone hasn't moved on. You don't even have to talk to people, to know where they're at, because they never came back and asked you for forgiveness. And if you know deep in your heart that you really didn't do anything to these people, or, if you feel like these people, that maybe you did something out of ignorance and you're really, remorseful about it. God knows when you're remorseful. God knows when you have forgiven other people. And when you've forgiven them, a lot of times they're still holding on to a lot of things, Even if you feel like you have moments of sadness, it doesn't mean you're holding on to those things. It's just, you have days, like you're human. But the narcissists, they look back, but they're tormented. They know what they have to do. They just won't do it. And they'd rather go from person to person, even if they end up alone in the end. A lot of people say narcissists end up alone. Not all narcissists end up alone. They just end up being controlled by the person they marry. So I'm sending you guys lots of love. I'm sending you guys lots of peace. Always know that, the same things that you fear can end up being also what affects you. This is what that person taught you. So you cannot be afraid. If you're afraid, if you feel hopeless, if bad things happen and you're like, oh, I'm alone. God has put me in a position where I've been alone, and, sometimes bad things happen to me. And I'm like, oh man, I'm on my own. I have to hustle this money. I have to do this. I have to, I'm trying to do the right things. I don't want to do anything that I'm not going to be proud of. I want everything to have meaning. But why does it seem like things happen to me sometimes, right? I can feel the same way. And then on those couple of days that I might miss out on work and things that I have to do in finances, I miss out on those couple of days because there's no way around it. Something will happen. And I'm like, wow, that's God, So, I had a hectic week, you guys. And during that hectic week, I got a little bit more time to do certain things online. And as I was taking a break and I'm just scrolling through looking at things, I see a missing picture of a little boy. And I was like, wow, I seen this boy on the street before. Because when I seen him, I was like, he's too young to be homeless. He, where's his family? How could they just don't care? He's so young, like 18, And I remember my heart hurting. And then bad things started happening to me. I'm like, I'm not going to be upset with God because of this. I'm just going to keep pushing through. And even though a lot of things have been happening to me, I realized the reason it was so that I can go online and see things that I normally wouldn't have seen because I would have been too busy. And I got time to actually see the little boy and seeing that he was missing for a while. He had been missing for months because the police arrested him thinking that, he just committed a crime just to commit a crime, but really he has a mental illness. And instead of taking him to a hospital, they take him, they arrest him. Police, the family's looking for him. They're like, hey, he has a mental illness. You should have never arrested him. Where did you guys drop him off? They don't want to give them any answers, because they're in big trouble. So they dropped him off anywhere, hoping that his family wouldn't find him. And I said to myself, that's the little boy that made my heart hurt the other day, because I was like, he's too young. And I was like, what is the coincidence of that? And I told them where to look for him. They told me they didn't find him, but they asked people around if they seen him, and they said, yeah, we seen him. went back. They went back and they found him, and they were like, oh, thank you, right? So sometimes you have to be alone to help other people, literally. And it's crazy. And it sounds crazy. And it's like, you just know God is real. It's like, there's no explaining it anymore. It's like, us as human beings just have the energy. The energy will draw us away. And sometimes, we're blessing others so that we can get blessed out of the situation that we're in. And God is just giving us, God is giving us, that step where they're like, you have to figure out, what have you been doing wrong? What's going on? Who's new in your life? Warning, help this person along the way and I'll help you. So, I'm sending you guys lots of love, light, peace. If you guys are new to this channel, I know this podcast was pretty long, but I'm hoping that you guys can gain a lot of information and healing from this information, because I've been through it, and the emotional abuse that these people put you through, it's way worse than going through a financial situation, because it's affecting your spirit. It's affecting your body, So if you guys are new, subscribe, and welcome. Don't forget to like, share, and comment down below. Share your stories and your testimonies, and I will talk to you guys on the next podcast. Love you guys. Bye.